It's the afternoon of April 14th, 1996. It's a crisp Sunday in spring with birds chirping to the smell of ice cream, peanut butter, and bubble gum. You get lost on the way to a work-related meal, and the early stages of hunger sets in as you arrive at your destination. Enter Gary Chalmers III, a superintendent for several elementary schools in the city of Springfield. He has reluctantly accepted the invitation of one Seymour Skinner, the principal for Springfield Elementary, and someone who has worked under Chalmers for several years. In the following footage, you will see one of the most disturbing and twisted examples of deception shown on a televised situational comedy. You will see fear, lies, but most importantly, a coordinated effort to manipulate the truth and fabricate reality itself.
Well, Seymour, I made it, despite your directions.
Ah, Superintendent Chalmers, welcome. I hope you're prepared for an unforgettable luncheon.
Note the casual cadence in Skinner's voice as he welcomes his superior into his home. He is affable, courteous, and calm. While he may not be aware of it yet, he has already set the tone for the day and sealed his fate in the process.
Oh, ye gods! My roast is ruined!
A common mistake made by amateur chefs or those unfamiliar with culinary etiquette, one must check on the meat being cooked during all stages of its preparation. A single lapse in judgment can ruin an entire dinner, be it a meal for one or a family of 5. Had Skinner properly overseen the instructions for roast beef, he would have known that the average cooking time is roughly 1 hour in the oven, not 7.5.
But what if I were to purchase fast food and disguise it as my own cooking? Ho, 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 ho. Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
It can be argued whether or not Skinner is trying to save the meal for the sake of his guest, or in a pitiful attempt to protect his reputation with Chalmers. Regardless, it's safe to assume that from the look of distrustful contempt in the eyes of the superintendent that Seymour's career could soon be in the oven with the roast and going up in flames. Let's see what happens next.
Skinner with his crazy explanations. The superintendent's gonna need his medication. When he hears Skinner's lame exaggerations, there'll be trouble in town tonight.
Seymour! Superintendent, I was just stretching my calves on the windowsill. Isometric exercise. Care to join me?
There is no method of isometric exercise currently known to exist that requires one to extend their leg at a 90-degree angle out of a gaping window. Skinner knows this, and he knows that Chalmers knows this. From both of their years overseeing children's education, they would have directly dealt with gym teachers who would have presented a syllabus of physical activity which would be overseen and vetted carefully by the administration. It's a risky attempt to deceive Chalmers, and the principal's invitation to join him will hopefully embarrass him to the point of getting him to overlook the entire exchange. Let's see if it works.
Why is there smoke coming out of your oven, Seymour?
Oh, that isn't smoke. It's steam. Steam from the steamed clams we're having. Steamed clams.
Ooh.
A near-flawless execution of what is generally regarded by experts as the bait-and-switch technique. Seymour will hurriedly buy the aforementioned food and use it as a substitute for what is now a ruined roast. While he had already decided on purchasing the fast food by the time Chalmers entered the kitchen, he still chose to say that they were having steamed clams as opposed to any item that was being served on the Krusty Burger menu at the time. A decision that will no doubt cost him later in the video.
Superintendent, I hope you're ready for mouth-watering hamburgers.
I thought we were having steamed clams.
It's now become clear that Chalmers knows something is up, and this will begin a steady line of inquiry that will force Skinner to construct a masterfully crafted lie that his professional career will hinge on.
No, I said steamed hams. That's what I call hamburgers.
You call hamburgers steamed hams?
Yes, it's a regional dialect.
What region?
Upstate New York.
Really? Well, I'm from Utica, and I've never heard anyone use the phrase steamed hams.
Oh, not in Utica. No, it's an Albany expression.
I see.
Pause to take a moment and consider all the information that has just been said in the past 20 seconds. Not only has the meal changed from clams to hams, but the origin of this phrase rapidly changes at the mention of Chalmers' hometown. Information that Skinner would have no doubt had prior. While he managed to make it back to the house with this thrown-together meal, it's clear that he left his A-game back at the fast food joint.
You know, these hamburgers are quite similar to the ones they have at Krusty Burger.
Oh, no. Patented Skinner Burgers. Old family recipe.
For steamed hams.
Yes.
Yes, and you call them steamed hams despite the fact they are obviously grilled.
Skinner's ability to maintain a calm composure through this interrogation is a remarkable display of mental fortitude as Chalmers begins to inch closer to the truth. However, this isn't his first rodeo, and his stamina for such a barrage will come as no surprise to those who know the information that will come to light later on.
You know, one thing I should... Excuse me for 1 second.
Of course.
Oh, well, that was wonderful. Good time was had by all. I'm pooped.
Yes, I should be. Good Lord, what is happening in there?
Most people in this situation would do one of three things: confess to the ruse and apologize profusely, contact the emergency services as soon as possible, and prioritize the safety of everyone in the house, or experience some form of a mental breakdown due to being overwhelmed. In the following seconds, the man we know as Seymour Skinner will demonstrate a level of deception so compelling that it directly overthrows all of Chalmers' suspicions in one move. Let's see how he does it.
Aurora Borealis?
Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
Yes.
May I see it?
No.
There are very few times that a human being will show such conviction to a story they know is untrue. Some of the most hardened criminals or gang members in history have broken under severe questioning. Even the most elite FBI agents have been known to divulge information when tortured for long enough. Maybe it is beginning to dawn on you that this is not the work of an elementary school principal, nor is it the mental footing of a normal civilian, but perhaps someone who has very intricately been lying for most of his adult life. This demonstration of calculated forgery can be the calling card of only one kind of person: a con artist.
Seymour! The house is on fire!
No, Mother, it's just the Northern Lights.
Well, Seymour, you are an odd fellow, but I must say, you steam a good ham.
Help! Help!
As Chalmers walks away, he glances back at the burning Skinner household, now engulfed in flames. Despite the immediate danger apparent to anyone with a functioning set of eyes and ears, he is willing to dismiss it at the appearance of a simple thumbs up. Chalmers leaves to the agonized screams of Agnes Skinner while the house burns down. The man who we know as Skinner rushes to contact the fire brigade, but he is already too late. Agnes Skinner is dead, suffocated from smoke inhalation and the victim of third-degree burns. Her remains are found in the rubble and ash of the Skinner residence, in which investigators find documentation of one Armin Tamzarian, a sergeant in the Green Berets during the Vietnam War. Tamzarian served alongside the son of Agnes Skinner, Seymour, and both were captured as prisoners of war. Tamzarian was held for 18 months while Skinner was held for 5 years. Upon leaving Vietnam and returning to Springfield, Tamzarian assumed the identity of Seymour Skinner, moving in with an elderly mother who presumed her son was dead. For over 20 years, Tamzarian lived with Skinner's mother and served as principal for Springfield Elementary. He was charged with second-degree manslaughter and to be in violation of the Theft Act. He is currently serving a life sentence in Springfield Penitentiary without the possibility of parole. Before the video ends, put yourself in the shoes of Agnes Skinner, a woman who believed her son was gone, who lived with a stranger for 2 decades and thanked God every day that her Seymour had come back to her. Now consider Gary Chalmers, a man who, while confronted with ridiculous circumstances, chose to turn away and believe that a miracle was truly taking place in Seymour's kitchen. We can all appreciate the deceptive skills of the imposter Skinner. We can all attest that he was a sussy baka. He was a conniving criminal who used his military training and experience as a prisoner to hoodwink an entire town. But sometimes it's easier living the lie. Occasionally it's preferable to live in fiction, to turn away from reality for a bit and indulge in what you wish was rather than what is. You decide to stop asking questions and accept the reality you're presented with. Sometimes the truth isn't pretty. Maybe the roast is ruined. Or perhaps it's just a forgettable luncheon.